What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer.
And I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker. And we are back virtually. It's good to see you.
Yes, it is good to see you. It is
That's right.
episode number 86 of the Hustling Sideways podcast. Jim, you are catching me right in the middle of, I leave for another music festival tomorrow. So
That's fantastic. Alan's
things
basically living
things
the
are a
life
little
of a
hectic.
17-year-old high school student that's just going to music festivals every weekend and just enjoying themselves and pretending like he's working. And it's a real act you got there, Alan. A real good act.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this is the third or fourth festival of the summer already at this point, and there's at least one more that I hit usually within the course of the year. Um, I don't remember what day it is anymore. I don't know what time is. I'm frankly exhausted. So
That's
the
right. You're
fact that
just,
I'm here and that I'm in
yeah.
this moment and we're doing a Hustling Sideways podcast, I'm pretty
You're
proud that I at least made it somewhat on time today. So
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
you're just like forever in concussion protocol with that. It's like I don't know what's happening. I'm just here, Yeah, I like it. So we're gonna
You
see what you're
know,
gonna do
my
today.
wife's an athletic trainer, so she should just give me the concussion test after festival season and just see like if I actually pass it.
Well,
Because there's
no,
honestly like there are days where like I'm walking the dog and I'm like, I might just fall over. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I am that
yeah.
exhausted right now from like the amount of shows and things like,
It's
boo, wow, what a tough
it's a
life.
tough life, man. It's a tough life, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're spending that life with us
Yes.
for this next 35 to 45 minutes. It'll be wonderful.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
for
we've got
those that
another
didn't know,
guest.
I should say
Yes.
about it just to start this. If you've been listening to the last two or three episodes, we've been doing a really fun series from a lot of students at a little small college in Milwaukee called Marquette that we all went to here on this show, and we had an opportunity to work with the 707 Hub as a podcast and do a couple shows there. And Alan and I last April had a chance to host the Brewed Ideas Challenge, and so what we decided to do was all the students that pitched during that Brewed Ideas Challenge. We wanted to have them here because what we thought was really important to tell their stories about how passionate they are and what they've created. And so that said, Alan's going to introduce our next two guests, and we're excited to hear a little bit more from them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Jack and Vincent. They are the founders of Quick Help Tutoring. They are actually now, congratulations, Marquette graduates. We don't have an applause button, but congratulations. And they are one of the standouts from the Brewed Ideas Challenge. So without further ado, Jack and Vince, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. We're really excited.
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
I do want to throw it out there. Jack already acknowledged that Alan and I are both pretty funny before the
Yeah.
show even started. So, Jack, shout out to you for that boost of confidence. We
And
appreciate
let
what
me
you're doing.
just say, this is probably our highest rated episode so far.
This
No,
is
I'm
it. Yeah,
kidding.
it's the one.
If you had to listen to one, this is the one. No.
It's the one. That's great.
Um, guys, where are you guys calling in from? What part of the world are you calling in from right now?
Yeah, I'm calling in from Raleigh, North Carolina. I recently moved down here for a job, so it's been a fun area to explore.
Awesome.
I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, also for a job. So
All
definitely a
right.
cool experience being out at the East Coast.
And
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
where are you both originally from? It sounds like you've moved to these spots for work. Jack, where'd you grow up?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I'm familiar with that place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vincent, what about
A
you?
little bit. Yeah, I know a thing or two. Yeah.
Northern Wisconsin in Eau Claire.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm honestly less familiar with Eau Claire, but I have traveled through there once. I did not get to the music festival up there,
Haven't
but
we
I
all?
have gone
Yeah.
through there. Yeah. I know that there is a gas station that I made a pit stop at, and that's about it.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
It's big for country music.
Yeah. There you go.
yes,
That is. Yeah. So
absolutely.
the Wisconsin boys have spread their wings and they're now in the East Coast, which is awesome. So Jack and Vincent, tell us a little bit about your maybe your background and how you met in college and a little bit about some of your journey and maybe a little bit of your Marquette experience that's led you to what we're going to speak about, which is your company.
Yeah, of course. I can start us off and then Vince can add on. But Vince and I actually lived on the same floor. I was right next to him my freshman year at Marquette. So we both lived on the LOC, Living Learning Community at Marquette University. And from the first couple of weeks, we really grew in friends. We both studied mechanical engineering. We roomed together the next 3 years at school. So I have a lot of memories, a lot of stories from that. But and then getting into some of our tutoring experience, I tutored at the College of Engineering, and I'll let Vince kind of explain some of his background.
Mhm.
hmm Yeah, so with our freshman year being on the same floor at the dorm, it was the COVID year, our freshman year. And so you couldn't go to other dorms, you couldn't go to club events, you couldn't go to just about anything on campus. So all you really had was the people that were in your dorm. So since we were on the same floor, we got really close, being in a lot of the same classes and having a lot of the same interests in athletics. It just made it really easy to get along and to have fun together. And so I went into tutoring with the tutoring services at Marquette in Calculus 1 and 2. And so I had a little bit of a background in tutoring.
Got it. So
Oh, wow.
you start off college by not being able to like be in college. That is just that is
I was
so
gonna say, yeah, you
bizarre.
were stuck together. Yeah,
Oh my
basically.
gosh, you had no choice. What if you hated each other? This would have been a very different show. That's for sure. That's wild. But did either of you have a passion for entrepreneurship generally, or did that maybe start when you started visiting the 707 hub, or was there ever a spark that maybe came before that and you wanted to try something new?
Yeah, no, I always, when I was little, I always enjoyed selling stuff and looking online at Facebook and stuff and seeing like, oh, could I flip things? And I'd say the earliest memories of like my entrepreneurship would be like grass cutting. I feel like that's something everybody does, is mowing your neighbor's lawn when they're gone on vacation and stuff like that. So I've always enjoyed finding a passion in work I've done, and entrepreneurship is just a great way to explore that.
Awesome.
Being in the farmlands of Wisconsin, I've done like small one-off jobs doing like milking dairy farms, just shoveling all the poop and everything and getting real dirty. And that's like how I started making any sort of income. And so I always thought about how can I like grow my income to be more than just working for my time. And so I set up an eBay business in high school. I wasn't 18, so I had to make some fake accounts. I was just like selling that I have at my house that like I didn't want anymore, like a pair of shoes that I didn't wear in a while, or just about anything I could find. And so I made like a little bit of money through that, and it was a really great experience learning how to market an item online, whether it's Facebook or eBay, like showing other people like, hey, here's a product that I can get to you, and then figuring out how to ship it, figuring out all the costs to get the profits and seeing how much that I'm making at the end of the day, and also stacking up on inventory. There's only so much space that you have, and so learning how to deal with all these different business traits started in high school.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so Jack had a background in kind of flipping things and learning or mowing lawns and working hard to make money. And Vincent was shoveling poop, which you know what? Honestly, great college skill to have. I'm
It
sure
is.
cleaning up after others, you were probably like,
Yes.
this is the least of
After a
my
party on
worries.
17th and Kilbourne, you got to clean up after a couple things, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I'm sure. I
I
mean,
feel
so
that.
honestly, life skills really in
That's
college from
right.
that. Yeah. But let's talk about kind of getting your start when it comes to tutoring. I know you said you'd been involved with some tutoring prior to that. What were kind of the challenges that you were seeing from students, and like where were you seeing any kind of common threads from different people that you had from one student to the next?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from learning from a peer instead of a professor sometimes. When I'm in school, when I was in high school, especially, just I would hear it 4 times from my teacher, and then at the end of the day, doing homework with a friend, you'd say it slightly different, and for whatever reason, that would really stick with me. That just hearing it for somebody like a peer can really help out, and that was like one of the main reasons where I found that through tutoring other people, I can give that really unique perspective on different angle that the teacher is coming from. So with my tutoring through Marquette, especially having taken the classes from similar professors that were teaching the students that I was tutoring, I was really able to come in there and give them a different perspective and just see that joy of kind of relieving some of that stress that a lot of the students were facing that we were helping.
Sure.
That's a good point. Jack, I'm curious, or Vincent, either one. Did you ever get like self-conscious when tutoring in the sense that what if I forgot this lesson, or what if I like say the wrong thing, or just, I think because there's probably a lot of trust that you build with someone that you're tutoring, and have you ever had a point where you're like, oh crap, that was wrong? Like has that happened, or have you ever been nervous about doing that?
That definitely has happened a couple times. Um, a big part of it is just like, okay, you realized you messed up, or someone calls you out and tells you
Mhm.
that you messed up, and just being straight up and like admitting, yeah, yeah, like I went wrong here, but then we can kind of break down from there, like how did we get to this
Mhm.
answer? Like how did we get to this wrong answer? And once you do that breakdown analyzation, you can figure out, okay, this is where you went wrong right here. So how can we correct that to get to the right answer? And so
Sure.
a lot of the times you can have your two T's be the ones to kind of help move into the right direction. And that way they're also learning from my own mistake. And
Yeah.
that gives them a sense of accomplishment too, of like, oh yeah, we were able to figure something out that like even the tutor couldn't get right.
That's cool. You're kind of on a journey together almost in that sense when you're sort of, you're being accountable and being authentic in it. And then, it's like, oh, that okay. Like, well, let's figure this out together. I think that's a good way to learn. I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as somebody that whenever I have to like teach somebody a skill for work and I am terrible at it, I will admit I have all the respect in the world for being able to teach informally, in that setting of like a one-to-one. And I was curious too, like with the way that you guys communicate, like, do you think that the atmosphere maybe is something about that too, like of being a tutor that there's less pressure of like being in a classroom because I know that there were definitely classrooms that I would maybe doze off in a little bit. Do you think that that one-to-one setting might be something that, really kind of drives home the message a little bit better because you're not in the traditional sort of setting?
Yeah, I think one-to-one tutoring can make all the difference in a student's learning abilities. Just being able in that kind of almost make mistake setting and ask any question openly is really helpful when trying to learn new concepts and stuff. Especially when I like tutoring with people and sitting down with them or doing it over Zoom or online. I just like to write everything out step by step. I think it helps a lot, and being able to communicate that in a certain way that the tutor is going to learn it can be really helpful in that setting.
A lot of the times in the classroom setting, like the students, I've noticed this with myself too, the students aren't comfortable coming to the teachers
Mhm.
because there's so many other students there that need help. And so it feels like you're almost taking away time from the teacher to be able to help people that may need it more. Um, or you just feel like, oh, I only have like 5 minutes that I can get from the professor. And so you feel like rushed. You can't get all of your questions answered. So to have that dedicated time to sit down and have the tutor fully focused on you, that's huge.
For sure. And as somebody that I am a self-proclaimed bad math student. It's even in my Instagram bio to this day is that I am still bad at math. But I always felt in the classes that I took at, especially at Marquette and in high school and wherever, that I didn't want to be the one to ask questions because I was going to be dragging the rest of the class down
Mhm.
by having, to double back and kind of do that sort of thing. So for me, as the bad student who would have probably been an ideal 2D at this point, and I never actually had a tutor, surprise, I'm a communications major instead, or was, I never felt like I could have that kind of moment to be like, hey, whoa, can we go back to that for a second? Because I don't
Yeah,
grasp what's going on there.
no doubt. I never needed a tutor until I took microeconomics, and then that all went far down the drain. And I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on in this class. And I ended up getting a B, so we're good. But that was significant. And Jack, I mean, to some of the points you made, the tutor I had, I actually still keep up with her. She was a senior when I was a freshman. We got along really well. She helped me out a ton. She was just super giving of her time, and we're just still friends in social media, stuff like that. And if I were to reach out to her tonight, she would like say hello, that type of thing. So just a really good person who taught me a lot and was kind of like rooting me on, I would say too, as we would go into tests, and she would like send me a text, the morning of, like, good luck. It was just a really unique experience. And yeah, something that I just feel like she didn't have to do that, but she decided to kind of be like a presence in that way. And I can imagine that you're cheering on, your students like that, and having that experience is important. So all that takes us to, forming an idea to make tutoring a broader reach. So to tell us a little bit about how Quick Help comes to life here, and you guys maybe get together and start talking about, we want to help more people out, and talk us through the genesis of that idea and how it starts coming to fruition.
Yeah, I've always thought it'd be a cool idea to start a tutoring company. And I was in my senior design class when Patrick came in, the person who runs the 707 building at campus at Marquette, came in, kind of pitched this idea of the Brewed Ideas challenge. And I'm like, senior year, last semester, like I never took advantage of the 707 building. Like, this is my shot. So I finally came up and met with him, pitched two different ideas. First idea got shot down. Wasn't the best one, but the tutoring idea we both thought would be really cool to go with. So I started working with that, doing some business canvas, and then was talking to Vince. I'm like, Vince, like, this is a good opportunity, even if we don't go far in the competition, just to get some good mentorship and stuff like that, and kind of learn the ins and outs of being an entrepreneur. So that's really what it came down, where the idea came out of, and kind of hope it came to life. And I don't know, Vince, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, it was really something where it's just like you can't lose at all in the situation. Like there's just so much room for learning and growth. And a lot of people don't have that option of having a mentor going through the actual process of putting together a business. And
Mhm.
so to have that provided by the university, I think it'd be a shame not to take advantage of that.
It's a really good point. And I have to ask, Jack, the first idea you had, we always talk about lessons learned or things that didn't go well. Was it like a super duper pooper scooper or something like that? Or what was the thing that made it go far? You don't have
No,
to
it was
answer the
like
question if
a
you don't want to, but I'm curious.
no, it was like it was like a backpack that goes on top of a backpack. So like if you need a little bit extra more space, there's a
Yeah.
backpack into the backpack. And I thought, I'm like, but you could just get another bag and just carry the bag. I'm like, yeah, I guess you could. So
I
it
guess
was,
you could.
yeah.
That's
I
hilarious.
like the
But
idea. Hey, there's
yeah,
thought for it. You know what? You know where it's good though? The checked bags when you can only check one bag on an
yeah,
airport.
Yeah.
Right there. You need
yeah,
that extension bag. You need the double bag or whatever, patent pending.
yeah.
We've named it. We're taking ownership of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
patent
you
pending.
need the double bag.
That's right.
The
No,
double
that's awesome.
duffel. The double
The double
duffel.
duffel.
I'm sorry.
Double duffel.
There it
Yes.
is.
You got to start it. You got to start, and we won't stop.
Yeah.
No, that's
I'll
really
be in
cool.
another tab
Yeah.
trademarking that right now. Don't
No
So
worry.
what's
idea is a
yeah,
bad
right.
idea.
What's the timeline like when you guys come up with this, and you got I know the Brewed Ideas challenge was in April. When did you actually start creating this idea, and how long did you have to come up with a pitch and begin actually selling what the idea ended up becoming?
Yeah, it was a pretty quick timeline. Like I've always thought about delivering an online platform for people to get tutored on, get instant help with, but never really put it on paper. So this was like the first opportunity to do that. So I never saw like a business canvas before. So I was diving right in and working quickly and coming up, talking to our customers and reaching out to them and doing a lot of research up front to
Mhm.
quickly come together because it was under some tight deadlines, but we had some
Yeah.
mentorship along the way.
And what was the reception like? Like, so when you were telling your friends about this or getting customers, were people excited to have this type of service? Or, and I guess the second part of that question is, did the Marquette tutoring office get like excited about this, or did they see this as like, wait, you're gonna like steal all the work that like what was that relationship like for you guys to start that off? Of did you need them at all, or could you do this independent of something that existed in person, on campus?
You want to take that one, Vince?
Yeah. Um, so it helped going into this as seniors because we had 3+ years
Mhm.
of growing in relationships with uh, people in the engineering program, people in the business program, even like nursing, biomedical sciences. We're able to branch out across all the schools at Marquette. And so like one of the big parts about being students is like we don't have any money. And
Yeah.
so like what are ways we can make money while we're on campus as students? And so like a big part of this service is to get jobs created. So that way students that need to have flexibility, need to have a good pay, need like they want to take advantage of the education that they're learning. And by teaching, that helps you build your own knowledge on whatever you're learning. And so this creates a whole new opportunity for students to get jobs. And
Mm.
so we have tons of friends that are like, oh, like tutoring is something I've never done before, but that's something I totally want to do, especially if there's a good pay and I don't have to sacrifice social time, class time, working out. So we have the set of a customer being students themselves, but then also we reached out to family and friends, and we reached out to different schools that are local to Milwaukee, and we had an overall like positive interactions of like, oh yeah, like of course we'd want to have our children sign up for this program. Like just
Sure.
overwhelming positive
Awesome.
attitude towards this.
Sure. Now, speaking to mentorship a little bit too, being that you guys are tutors by nature, did it kind of feel like the shoe was on the other foot a little bit, having a mentor there to kind of show you the ropes of business? Did you feel like now you've become the student again?
Yeah, it felt a little odd at first, but our mentor Brad was he was amazing throughout the whole process. He came and gave us a whole different perspective of the idea and gave us some really good opportunities to improve it. Especially when it came time to making our final presentation to pitch it. We did our first pitch, a practice pitch to Patrick and a few other people at the 707 building, and they said how it doesn't come off amazingly with how you guys are describing the idea, and that he gave us a really good perspective of how to switch our presentation to
Mm.
do a video, incorporate a video to kind of plant the seed of our product better into the people we're presenting. So that was a great perspective, and being able to learn that from really good mentors was an amazing opportunity.
Sure, definitely. And that experience for you of pitching at the Brewed Ideas Challenge, I'm guessing that was probably the first time you've ever had to actually pitch in front of like a big room of people and showcase the product. What's kind of the thoughts and emotions that go through your head while you're doing that? Or you get nervous? Like, how did you guys feel, while that was going on?
I just pretended everyone was in their underwear.
There you
That
go.
helped with the stage fright. Um, but seriously, all the practicing we had done was mainly just us two talking to a wall. And so it was a big switch up to be in a room just full of people. There's a camera on us. There are three judges sitting in front of us. There are two hosts that just announced our name and our project, and and they're making us laugh going into it. And so we have like a little like energy that's building up. But I believe we practiced enough where we really knew what we were talking about. We really knew what our idea was, and we really wanted to share it with everyone. So even though it was intimidating, we were really excited to share off our idea.
Yeah, plus we went first, so that was really
Yes.
we won the lottery on that one.
It is
I
true.
see, I always feel like that is like the toughest one is to go because nobody knows what they're really getting into, I think, in the crowd. Like I notice this when I book concerts too. Like the first band, that first song is a little rough because A, they're getting the sound right or they're getting whatever right, but you're also reading the room at the same time, like kind of live. So like that is not easy to do what you guys had to do and be the first ones to kind of set the tone for everybody else, especially because everybody is kind of figuring out and you only do this one time a year,
Right.
what the atmosphere is going to be like in the 707 Hub.
Hmm. Were there any unexpected questions that you got that you were like, oh my goodness, didn't see that one coming? Or did you feel pretty prepped and able to answer everything that came your way?
I think overall we had a with our mentor Brad, we practiced a lot of different questions. And one of the big tips he gave us with, which I'll use later on when I present, is make a little appendix slides. So there's a few questions that we got to ask, and we're like, oh, it's right here. Flipped a few more slides through the presentation, just was able to answer a lot easier. But the questions they threw were challenging, but we prepared pretty well, I think. So
That's awesome. Vince, one thing you brought up was practicing in front of a wall and that type of thing. And it's really, I think I've been speaking for close to 10 years now. And one thing I did before I started was I practiced in front of a brick wall probably 100 times, and then finally got my chance to go out and do it. But I was like so comfortable with the content, like knew the words, knew what I wanted to say. And then it just like, but doing it like live is where that's the real deal. Like nothing can prepare you totally to get out there. You just have to experience it. And so it's important to like have that. But if you care about something and you're ready to pitch it or talk about it, like practice a lot, practice very, very often, do it in front of people that you know and trust if it comes to that. And then at the end of the day, you're going to have a different experience doing it like in prime time. And that's always going to teach you something. But I sometimes I think people could just like take something like, oh, let's go do it. It's like, you got to really, really get into it, and practice is a really good thing. And I still do it. I still practice before I go up and give a talk, because it's important to get timing down and who you're speaking to, what the message is supposed to be that day, the avatars of the audience members, all those things. I definitely don't picture them with underwear. I will say that, but that's on you, Vince. So I'll let you live at that one forever, which is fine. But it's a good call out in terms of practicing whatever you're trying to, with that point you're trying to get across.
Yeah. So post Brewed Ideas Challenge now, you guys are obviously, you're in different states right now. You're both graduates right now. What does the kind of state of the business look like, and where are you kind of trying to take things?
yeah, we're going for it. So we want to keep the idea alive, help as many students as possible. And a great thing about being an online service is we're not limited to the location we are now. Vince and I being far apart from each other is not going to hinder our abilities. So right now we're really just trying to look for tutors, recruiting tutors, and onboarding a lot of looking for a new possible people who want to get help and want to get tutored by those tutors. So with the school year coming up and those classes getting heavy, it's good to prepare now and get some help.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. How would somebody kind of get involved if they were a tutor? Definitely not saying for me, because I would totally not be able to do it. I have
Alan's not
nothing
your
to
gal.
tutor you, and like I said, bad at math. But if somebody was a student and they wanted to get involved, is there a website, or where's the best way to kind of go about it? And I guess the second question from that is kind of, how do you vet those tutors that submit, to make sure that they kind of know what they're talking about?
Yeah, no, the best way to get a hold of Vince and I is through our email. So it's quickhelptutoringservices@gmail.com. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. And then for the vetting process, we'll really just have a conversation with the potential tutor to see if they're a good fit. Look at some of their background, see if they have some tutoring experience, and kind of making sure that we're bringing on the right people that will be able to kind of uphold kind of the brand we want and the service we want to provide to the future students. So.
Sure,
And
We're still in the
what
process of
types of
building our website
oh,
too.
yeah, sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Vince.
we're still in the process of building our website too. So from there we'll have like all the social media set up. So we're still in the process.
Awesome. And when you say, in terms of being a good fit, like what type of qualities are you looking for someone to join? And how would you know if someone isn't a good fit? Maybe is a better way to ask that. Is there
If
something like,
if they host this podcast, they are
yeah,
not a good
other
fit.
than us, like there's two very clear non-fits here, but in the general public, how would you know that that's the case?
Yeah, so one thing that I always like to look for in a possible tutor is somebody who has a lot of patience. A lot of times when you're helping somebody, they might have to ask the question 4 or 5 times, which isn't a bad problem at all. So being able to have the patience in order to help them, and then also being able to communicate your ideas efficiently, being able to draw pictures and draw diagrams out in order, especially in the subjects like math and science, can definitely really help the student out a lot.
That's patience is a really good one. I didn't really think of that. I mean, I can imagine it would be frustrating to have to go back and forth a lot, but you really stick with it and do that. That's a great call out. Yeah. And I'm sure you're pretty direct on that. Like that's what you're looking for. And if you don't get that, then this may not be the best fit for the program. And I'm sure that's why you're going to get good people. And that makes a lot of sense.
Is there any plans to work with, more universities and try to partner with universities, or is it kind of the plan to stay independent from that?
A lot of universities have their own like tutoring centers like Marquette. And so like how we have it set up is we can work with students at the universities without needing to directly be a part of it. So we're open to like no matter what school you're from, like you can definitely be a tutor.
Very cool. I like it. I like it. Well, I mean, I feel really good about what you guys are doing, and I think
Mhm.
anything that helps people in general is something that, is going to be worthwhile for sure. Sounds like
Mhm.
a great endeavor to take the process of tutoring and expand that out to people because we certainly need it. And I think, everybody's at a different ability level, and to be able to kind of level the playing field is great. Something that I honestly should have taken advantage of in college. Oh, I was going to ask too, is it only college level, or do you do younger than that? Do you do high school, grade school level if there are people that need tutoring like that? Are you working on something like that?
Yeah, no, it's for all levels. So the majority, we focus a lot on the high school levels, seniors, juniors, especially those people taking those AP classes. So definitely reach all domains.
Yeah, very
Excellent.
cool. Well, I appreciate that, and thank you guys for being on and being part of this. And Jim and I would have certainly benefited from tutors. I know that Jim did, but I should have.
Yes. Yes.
For sure. You guys mentioned that the website's in progress. Email's the best way to contact you. Is there any other ways that we can get involved and kind of get connected with what you guys are doing?
Email is definitely the best way. Otherwise, reaching out to Vince and I on our LinkedIn's also is a good way to get in contact with us.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. Thanks for being part of the show. And if you are listening for the first time, or if you're listening for the 86th time, this is the Hustling Sideways podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn as well. So you can connect with us in all of those places. If you want to be a guest and be right here, either virtually or in the same room as me and Jim in the near future, you can do that too by sending us an email. It is hustlingsideways@gmail.com. And Jim,
Keep on hustling.
we will see you next time.